There's another state that was planning on using this app. Nevada. Nevada wants to use this app too. Well, they've canned that idea because they have to. There is no way you're going to get away with trying to do this again in Nevada. Not going to work. I was so ready to lay into them if they didn't make some statement about not using this app. If they did something that was like, we're going to conduct an independent review and make it better and trust us, it'll work this time. Like, I was going to be like, you get out of here with that. You get out of here with that. We're not hearing any of that. We were talking about this app almost 2 full weeks before Iowa. We brought up this app. Even we were late to the game in noticing it. But it seems like nobody else wanted to talk about it before the day of or the day before. And like, this is weird. Things are changed this time. Yeah, Iowa's going to be different this year. Interesting, everyone. I guess it's all going to be fair. And we were like, this is just introducing additional confusion. If they even use these results, it introduces an additional way that there could be some manipulation of the vote totals, like fractional voting it opens the potential door for that, right? You have to have inherent trust if you're going to have an electronic voting system. And I will continue to make the argument that, hey, when there is distrust within the system, and you have a large pocket of people calling for election reform and calling for the Democratic Party in particular, and at the national voting stage, right, electoral college, et cetera, for election reform, top to bottom. We want a system where we can be confident in the vote totals, and somebody else comes along and goes, how about an app? I think we get to say, hey, you're not listening to what the will of the people want. You're not responding to that. Why, in this climate, when this is the political discussion surrounding our elections, are you going to introduce a thing that does the opposite, right? It does not necessarily demonstrably introduce corruption, but it definitely demonstrably introduces the possibility of it where it would not be there if it was a paper ballot situation. So why are you going to say, no, you seriously have to trust us and you can't prove that I'm going to do anything, but I should definitely be able to introduce the possibility of doing that thing. I should definitely have the right to introduce the possibility of cheating, and you should trust me that I'm not. This is like, we need to stop paying deference to that nonsense and say, no, we want paper ballots because we want to trust the veracity of our election system, our electoral system.
Paul's angry, and you know what? Here's something that'll probably make you laugh, though, because I've been seeing this in the chat. Thank you for super chat as well. Nizar G, $2. Hashtag Mayor Cheat, make it a trend. I couldn't agree more. And you know, just the very fact that the DNC was relying on this app makes me think that they didn't listen to Rick Sanchez's advice about to that little alien. Don't develop the app.
Yeah. So here's the other thing, and again, like this goes back to Tulsi Gabbard was right all along. She had a very simple bill that was like, just put it on paper. Everyone gets a paper ballot. Paper ballot gets hand counted.
Daniel, are you asking for democracy? Are you asking for accountability and open transparency in America? I don't think so. But see, Tulsi Gabbard had a clear plan, but the DNC shot it down.
They're like, no, we need an app.
We need to develop an app, and it's going to be great. But Paul,
I could just see them being like, it's what all the kids are doing. No one uses paper anymore.
No, we need to have real accountability.
You know whose voting system we need to criticize is Venezuela's. That we need to criticize other nations in their voting. Syria, they're not. You can't trust that vote. It's not a real vote. Oh, Ukraine, Crimea, they voted. You can't trust that. It was compromised. Every time it comes out in a way that the U.S. doesn't like, you can't trust that. And then we do this. We do this nonsense. We should not stand for this. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Paul, it's okay. I've been angry on the show too. You can let it all out, man. It's
what
fine.
I will say is we should also be careful when there's missiles coming in and there's holes in roofs that are twice as big as said missiles.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, when we look at this and just how laughable the DNC is and just how much money they wasted on this app, it goes to show you how out of touch they are and how.
By the way, they're out of money too.
Yeah. No, not only out of money, but Daniel, it goes back to what we've said on the radio show, what we said on our public access show, what we said in the early days of this YouTube channel, and that is the DNC's a paper tiger. We don't have to stand for it, like Paul said. We have to get angry. We can push these people around. They don't know how to fight. They don't know how to win. They don't know how to organize. They don't know how to build a real political revolution and bring in much needed change. Are you expecting leadership from Nancy Pelosi or anyone within the Republican establishment? Anyone within the DNC establishment? Trump, Obama, Clinton? No. These people are all friends with each other. One more time for the people in the back. The establishment, the RNC, the DNC, Wall Street, big banks, major corporations, they are all friends with each other. They don't care about you. But this is the time, this is the election cycle where you can use your voice and make your voice heard. Show up. Talk to your friends, your neighbors, your loved ones, your coworkers. Get involved in this 2020 election cycle. Know the rules and regulations of your state's primary so that we can actually bring in change. This convention is going to be a tough one. This primary is going to be a tough one. And I'm making this promise right now. Hardlands Media, the team, will be in Milwaukee for the DNC convention. And we invite all of you to come along with us. We have a lot of plans in the future to make this thing happen. So with that being said, we do have...
Quickly.
Oh, go ahead. What's the final word?
I just want to add a final word to this. That in a sense, we've already are already on the path to beat the DNC. Again, when I said they're out of money, they're literally out of money because people like you have just stopped donating to them. They spent money at this point they don't have. They're going to have to spend money to try and deal with all the PR. Don't miss it. We're already hurting them. They're already taking damage. Now, it might not be super visible. Tom Perez might still be in charge of it, but they don't have the same power. And I've said this before in the show, and I'll say it again. The DNC will never have the centralized power that it did in 2016 when Hillary Clinton completely controlled them, completely funded them. At this point, they are to a very real degree, a shell of the organization they used to be in 2016, a shell of the leadership, a shell of the power. They are beatable.
Yeah.
And it may look like they're doing terrible things now, and they are. But remember, they don't have the power they used to because people like you divested from them successfully.